Good morning, Year 10, and welcome to the weekly tutor for this week. Let's get going with our weekly notices. Right, I hope you're all safe and well. I'm just going to go through some normal notices today, and then we're going to talk about independence and go through some tips to it. But I'll talk about that later. First off, I hope you're all well and you're enjoying the new freedoms we've got, but return to normal-ish, and I'm really enjoying it. It's not the same. It's not as good, but it is nice. I saw my family this weekend. I had to drive up to Nottingham and back in a day, which was very long, but it was absolutely worth it because I saw like my little niece. It was her first ever birthday party. She's 1 year old on Saturday, so it was really, really good to see her because I haven't seen her since February. And like babies, like some of you got babies in your houses, babies change so quickly. So it was really nice to see her. She's massive now, like she can stand up. Really cool to see her. So my mum, I mean, she kept like miles away from me. She wasn't very well anyway. But it was great to see her. Saw my dad, who's absolutely normal, doesn't pay any attention to social distancing, like he's legit. But it was great. It was great to see him all. And obviously saw my sister and her boyfriend. So yeah, really, really good day. Football's back as well. I've watched so much football. I watched Villa, Sheffield United, and I even watched like the League Two playoffs. I watched all those games. Actually, quite good games. Yeah, people are moaning about like no stadium noise and it's not the same. And Liverpool Everton was a bit of a dull game, but to be honest, you've just got to concentrate and then you can appreciate it. With the crowd noise, it's easy to do something else, like be on your phone, and when it like the noise picks up, you watch. But if you just watch it and pay attention, it's still really good football. Best match I've seen is probably, I like Man U Spurs on Friday night. That was a good game. Like you could see two teams who had a lot in them. So yeah, really loving the football. Really, really enjoying that. Barbers are back open-ish on the 4th of July. Obviously, really looking forward to that. They got to wear masks though, so I don't know how good it's gonna be. Like you can't really see in those masks, but still, barbers are back from the 4th. God knows how it's gone, but it's great. But you got to remember, it's not over. The virus is still out there. It is still spreading. So people just like, I've seen like people in Cushorton where I live, like the pub down the bottom of my road, they're like doing takeout and people just in the park, and there's no distance between them. You still got to remember that this virus is out there and it is dangerous and it could come back even worse. So we have to make sure it's as low as possible. So do your duty, guys. Hopefully you're enjoying being back at school. I was in on Friday and I saw loads of year 10s, but I didn't realise it wasn't your side of the year, so I saw none of 10R. But I saw a few people in IOLS, who I teach French or I have taught French to. So that was great. Really nice to see him. I was in on Friday of year 12 and absolutely loved it. Never had so much fun at work, to be honest. It was really good to just go back and do something normal. Hopefully you're feeling that too. And I know it's tough going into school now, but look at this. There's just 4 weeks till summer. Can you believe it? Just 4 weeks away will be the summer holidays. And then you're going to come back in year 11. And you're going to be doing your GCSEs, and no matter what happens next year, they'll definitely do the exams and you will definitely be in school. They won't close schools for the exam year next year. I don't think they'll find a way to do it, tracking and tracing and whatnot. So 4 weeks until year 11. Year 10 summer, I really fought hard and thought I'm not going to get good GCSEs if I don't change my ways, and I did in year 11, and you know the rest. So this is a time for you to get ready for it. And with all your option subjects being set on Monday, I just worry with my French class that they're not doing enough, especially some of them. And it's going to have a knock-on effect to them next year because I've already moved some of them down and down a set, and we know what's coming. So you want to be on top. You want to be in the best place possible. So I'm going to go through some tips for independent learning. Let's have a look. Right, guys. So here's my tips for independent learning. People always say to me they can't revise. I had this mate called Rye who lived by me at school in year 11, and I used to meet up with him to walk to school before the exams because we lived like 5 minutes apart, so we'd meet up and walk the same way into school. And I'd always been revising hard. I'd be like, "You done any revision for this one?" He'd be like, "I just can't do it. I don't know. I just can't revise." And it's because you have to, like everything, you have to learn to revise. You're not born able to concentrate and revise. It's a skill, and the more you practice being independent and working, the easier it gets, and eventually you can just do it all the time. Like anything, like driving, you just have to learn it and then it becomes second nature. So here's 7 tips I've laid out on how to get the most out of independent learning and how to get the most out of the revision. Now, these tips are tried and tested. They're well worth listening to, not just from a teacher's point of view, me telling you what works, but once when I was a student, this is what I did. Oh, let me get the door. Right, sorry about that, Amazon. Right, where were we? So these are tried and tested techniques. These will make the difference. If you've ever thought, I struggle to revise, or I just can't get into it, or I keep getting distracted, if you do these 7 things, it's going to really help you. So listen carefully. Tip 1, you need a space to revise. You need somewhere in your house where you can go when no one else is. So you're away from them, so you can work and you can focus. Because if you're working and people keep coming in or talking to you or asking you questions, you're not going to be able to sufficiently revise, and you're going to keep losing sort of like the rhythm that you need to get into. So you need a space away from everyone else. Now, if like you share a house with loads of people, or like people don't respect that, you need to tell your mum or dad and say, look, I'm going into year 11, I need to actually study. This is my job, so I need somewhere to go, and they will help you out. Second, and this is the most important, you need a desk or a table. You need a place to work. People who work on their beds, people who work on their floors are exactly the same people who on results day are disappointed. And you might think, I work fine on my bed. You don't. You need a desk and somewhere to work. Now I've put here, your job at the moment is studying. In a few years you'll have to go out and actually make money and do something. At the moment, your job, your work is studying. So you need the right tools to do that job, and that tool is a desk. You can buy one for about, the cheapest one is still quite expensive, it's £40 in IKEA. Now that is expensive, and in times of Corona, when everyone's like worried about money, that is a lot of money. But you can use any old table. You can use a table from home and put it in your room. You can see what you can do. You need some sort of desk to work at away from everyone else. That is your tool. That is what you need to work. Tip 3, get some nice stationery. You work better when you've got nice things. If you're revising with like a tiny little pencil that's been like sharpened down to nothing, and a scratty black biro that barely works, that isn't going to be work that you're proud of and happy with. And when I was making revision notes, I used loads of different colours like reds and blues and highlighters, and it just made me get into it more, because I was making something that visually looked really good and I was really happy with for revision notes. And having all those things made it like really more fun to revise, because I had some nice things to do. Stationery is cheap. You can go to the school shop and it's dirt cheap. Get on some stationery to see what you've got. Tip 4, this is so important, no distractions. You can't work with your phone buzzing on WhatsApp all the time and you're texting your mates. You're wasting your time. Right now I'm on do not disturb, because I cannot have my phone buzzing while I'm doing this, otherwise I keep stopping and looking at it. No phones. People say I work really good with music on. No, you don't. You don't. You're being distracted. And then TV. I can't believe this. Laura, my girlfriend, used to revise at uni with the TV on. Absolutely ridiculous. You're not revising. You need no distractions. You're preparing for an exam. So when you revise, you should be revising in exam conditions, because then you'll get the real feel of it and you'll work hard, and you'll get a feel and used to working in silence and pushing yourself in silence. No distractions, guys. Get on it. Think if you're like at football training, you're not going to be on your phone while you're training. Yeah, you're not going to be blasting out the tunes while you're training, and you're not going to be watching TV or doing something else. You are training, and it's the same thing for revision. You've got to get into the zone and think about that exam. Tip number 5. This is the most important one for me. Timed targets. This is what I've done. I've already done this. Actually, I can tick this off. What you need to do is make a to-do list for the day, and then when you've achieved something, you can tick it off. And there's no better feeling than a tick on a to-do list. Sometimes I write things on a to-do list that I've already done to tick them off, to feel good about myself. This is what you need to do. And the most important thing, look at this, time managed targets. So I have what I'm doing and when today to see what I've got. These jobs here without time managed targets, they're for the week, so I can carry them on. I'm allowing myself. But here, look, start at 8:30, and this is what I'm doing. I've got my hour lunch break in there, 12 to 1. I've just written it in, and then 2 to 3, 3 to 4. This is what I'm doing today to make sure I'm ready for it, and I will do every single one of these jobs because this is it. When you've written it down and you've got a target, it's really frustrating if you don't do it. And then when I go off, like I've got to go supermarket today, I'll be thinking, oh God, I didn't do that job. Now I've got to do that tomorrow. And it'll annoy me all night. So it's best to just get it done and focus. And this way, when you've got a time target, you've got something to like pick you up and say, oh, I haven't done this, or I haven't done that. Or like now it's almost past 9:30. So I'm like, oh, tutor, I've not done it in time. So this will keep motivating you and stop you being distracted. All right, tip 6, aim high, but be realistic. At Easter, when you get to Easter, they'll tell you the school, you need to do 7 hours a day. And that's what studies say. That's what everyone does, 7 hours a day, which is a lot of time. On a normal day before Easter, because Easter's right by the exams, you're going to push yourself a bit harder. On a normal day, I used to do 5 hours a day when I was rising for my GCSEs, and that was like, including that, like, yeah, so every Saturday and Sunday from September in year 11, I did 5 hours. So 5 hours on Saturday, 5 hours on Sunday, 10 hours over the weekend. And I just never got home at detention. I'd done all my homework, I'd done a bit of revision, and like you might think, oh, that's a lot, that's extra, but it makes a difference. In lessons, I was killing it, and then in exams, I was like getting full marks, and I was like, it's just because I'm doing that 5 hours. And I used to get up early, and I used to do like 9 till 12 with like a half an hour break, and then like 12:30 till 2:33. And then I'd go out and my mates would have been in bed or just on their PlayStations or whatever. And then I'd meet them at 3 and then I'd go out till like 10 and I still had my weekend time, but I knew I'd worked really hard and done well. So be realistic, aim high, make sure you're pushing yourself. And then finally, the most important thing, reward yourself. Have breaks, like actual good breaks where you like have something nice, like have like a nice coffee or some chocolate or something like that, and treat yourself, or watch the next episode of a program that you love and say, I'm only going to watch this in my 12 to 1 lunch break, and I'm only going to do that if I've done everything I set out to do. This way you'll really enjoy what you're doing, and it'll break up the day and it won't feel like hard work because you'll be looking forward to all those treats you've got. Whereas if you just sit and binge watch 6 episodes and you don't do your homework, like how bad do you feel? And then finally, have a finishing time to look forward to. So I put 4 o'clock today. It might go on till like 5, but it won't be any later than that. Yeah, so have a finishing time to look forward to. And then I've finished and there's no better feeling. Like, particularly like this is a good thing about Corona. I finish at like 4 or 5 every day, and then that's it. Like, it used to be I'd stay at school till 6 and do like an hour's work when I got home. Now I finish at 4 or 5. It's a beautiful day outside. I'm going to go out in the sun. Well, I've got to go to Sainsbury's, but after that I'm going to go outside in the sun, like sit in my little garden. It's going to be great. So have something to look forward to. And when I do it, all of these jobs will be ticked off. So I'll be feeling great and happy. So those are my 7 tips. For most of your lessons, apart from English, Maths and Science, everything is set at the start of the week. So year 10, you need to make sure you're doing these 7 things to keep on top of your option subjects, to make sure that this time next year when your exams are over, you're really enjoying the start of summer, which will be the best summer of your lives, because you'll think, I've done my exams, I've done well, oh, the future's bright. If you do these 7 things. If you don't, if you just sit about and don't do any revision, this, which is meant to be the best summer of your life, will be a really stressful one when you're thinking about what am I going to do when results day comes. Now, I know some of you won't have worked hard during lockdown, and I know some of you are worried about going back to school and what your teachers will say. Imagine what that worry will feel like if you didn't revise for your exams, you found them really difficult, and you're waiting for results. It's just not worth it. It is worth getting yourself in gear and pushing yourself next year, and now to get ready for that results day, guys. Right, I know this has been a pretty heavy tutor, but you've got a lot of work to do. These are my 7 key tips for revising. Try them out. I guarantee they'll get results. Right, year 10, look forward to seeing some of you on Friday. Some of you should be in. I'll see you then, yeah? Stay safe.